So lots of reasons for why that depression might have emerged. No matter how deep, first off, he didn't have the deepest level awakening. And second, there's vasanas left even then, no matter how deep it is. Ramana had them. Nisargadatta had them. Jesus had them. Everybody had them. Wei Ning had them. And to think that we don't is silly. The Buddha had them. So he's learned to talk, I didn't know this guy before. He's learned to talk about not just straight Advaita, thank you very much. He started talking about bhakta, the need for love to complete the journey back into humanity to marketplace. So, many of you know, I've talked off and on about the ox-herding pictures, and the 10th one, which are the stages of enlightenment, shows this kind of jolly guy, he's heavy, walking through the marketplace, mud covered, how happy he grins. I can't quote it, I wish I could. But it's in Zen it's called the interpenetration of the dual and the non-dual. Or you could say taking the non-dual awareness and bringing it into the world of form, into the world of the everyday, which is what you have to do. And this is a process and a bit-by-bit sort of thing. This did not happen like that because of all the conditioned stuff that we all carry around us, because we're still a body, because we still live in this world. In other words, we still have programming and conditioning, or vasanas. His Zen teacher, Sung San, who's a Korean Zen master, talked about the path going 180 degrees out, reaching the void, and then coming home to 360, which referred to as a time of magic and highly unusual happenings. That's certainly true. And a lot of struggle. That's why I talk so much about the dark night that John of the Cross referred to. And I just ordered the complete writings of John of the Cross. I want to read this guy because I think I watched an hour-long movie about him recently. It was on Netflix. I think he really understood it. But there's just not enough emphasis on the sadhana, or this practice after awakening. And that needs to be said. It takes a long time. So somebody found this quote of Ramana, which I had read before. What are Kevala, Nirvikalpa, Samadhi, and Sahaja? Nirvikalpa, Samadhi, and I'm not even going to try to quote him, but he just says the one is not free from vasanas, meaning Nirvikalpa. Only after the vasanas have been destroyed can one attain liberation. How true. So apparently Jack O'Keefe is writing a book called Awakening and Liberation, or something like that.
From awakening to liberation.
I
think it's just
from awakening to liberation. Very good. Very good. That's what needs, and that's what this article's titled, basically. And I talk about the practice before and after awakening, which is the same thing. So, then when can one practice Sahaja, Ramana? Even from the beginning. So, Ramana had pointed out there's a difference between someone who attained all these samadhis I had experienced at Mount Baldy, which were temporary and did not touch me in the sense of transforming me into happiness and peace and liberation. Yeah, I would say the ability to be in a continuous state of presence, to just be here now, and nothing added, nothing extra, just this, nothing else.
That's the end development, or that's the goal, or that's the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Seems to me.
Yeah.
If there's more, I don't know it, but I'll let you know if I find out. But that is the result of burning out the vasanas. Then, what you do and who you do, it's like there's no one home, and yet there's free action in the world. I call it acting and speaking out of no mind. It's just, and it's all the time, just this, just presence being in the world.
So has the separation, sense of separation of you and the world
Gone.
sort of dissolved?
Gone, right. And the separation between thought and action is gone. It's not like I think something and then I do it, or I know something and then I do it. They're the same thing. If anything, the knowing is slightly behind the action. The action is free and direct and immediate. And the knowing is often a little bit behind it. And that action is always skillful and effective. Because it's coming out of nowhere. It's not coming out of me. It's just the free action of mind in the world.
Yeah. I recently came across that quote from Dogen where he says something like, the realized person's life is one mistake after another.
One mistake after another, right?
I couldn't figure out what he meant by it, but it's funny.
And he's laughing all the time. She's laughing all the time.
What does that mean? It's one mistake after another.
To explain a statement like that is to sully it.
Sorry, excuse me.
Go wash your mouth out. It's like you have to realize it directly. It is what it is. It could be said one accomplishment after another, be the same statement, if you knew what you were hearing. It's one moment, and it's not even one moment after another, because it's just this moment. There's nothing else you can say. It's the kind of Zen saying that's just kind of tweak the thinking mind.
It's great. There's still something so charming about it.
It is. It's great. See, that statement came out of Dogen's no mind. And as he said, to know the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to know the 10,000 beings. To dissolve into oneness. But it's beyond oneness. It's not just oneness. It's everything. It's beyond everything. It's not even that. Anything you say isn't it.
He has some really great sentence. It's really
It was
good.
profound. About 1350 or so. Reinvigorated. I mean, supposedly Dogen is a Zen monk that brought Zen specifically from China to Japan. And certainly he's powerful. Even though Robert said you're either awake or you're not, you're either enlightened or you're not, that does not mean there's no movement after awakening. Right? To be truly liberated, one must personally become completely empty.
It's interesting.
Now, what would that look like? What it looks like is what I said a minute ago. Free action in the world. Speaking from no mind. Acting from no mind. Now, you might not know what that means, but it has a kind of quality to it. There's no self-consciousness. There's no judgment. There's no capacity to judge it. The nature of it is that it's incredibly enjoyable and skillful without meaning to be.
There's a certain lightness to it.
Lightness, directness, transparency. Nothing is hidden. There's no concept of needing to hide anything. Everything is direct and immediate and spontaneous and unpredictable. And from my own experience, and it took me years to be able to articulate this, when acting and speaking in this way, the mind of the other person is always paralyzed. It just stops it. So when you constantly see people looking at you like that, and they can't remember the next thought. It's enjoyable. It's free. And it doesn't conform to any rules or regulations. So the idea that a liberated being is going to act in a certain way is ridiculous. They don't know how they're going to act moment to moment, and you don't either. So you have all kinds of stories of people who are obviously deeply awake, acting in ways that are outrageous. And if they were anybody else, you might think they're psychotic or delusional or whatever. It just happens that that's not it. But not everybody is going to see these free acts in the world as wonderful. Many people, because they're coming from beliefs and opinions and concepts and notions, are going to lay their conditioned beliefs on that behavior and judge it.
Did you ever hear about Swami Nityananda? He was a recognized sage, but he would occasionally, climb a tree and throw coconuts at people.
Yeah, I read that.
I heard of that, now that you mention it.
And he'd sing, he would go up and
Right,
sing.
right. Right. There's always been these kind of crazy acting wild men and women. They're just outside of it. You can't contain them in any. You can't. They don't fit. They don't belong. They don't. This is the real meaning of the New Testament, where Jesus says, the birds of the air have their nests, and the foxes their lair. The Son of Man has no place to lay his head. You don't belong. You don't fit in. It's impossible. It's gone. Gone. That's gone. Ajashanti talked about this, looking across the room at a wedding he was at, watching people dancing and laughing and drinking and having a good time. And it just hit him, I can never again do that. I can never again be that way. Doesn't mean he couldn't go to a wedding and dance and drink. It means